Yeah, it's your boy Jay, and I want you to say, hey, it's a new video. So, because of course, bringing back my intro, new version. Not really. I don't know if I'm gonna have an intro. Maybe I'll have music next time. Yeah, probably not. It takes too long. But anyway, so of course I'm doing daily videos now. One thing, I'll just show you how I look like with my hair not in a hat. Um, I I just don't like it. I just don't like it. It's not comfortable for me. It's really itchy on my face, so that's why I wear a hat. I'm probably gonna wear a hat in a ton of my videos because it's always itchy. It's always itchy. But anyway, so of course I'm doing daily news updates for the stuff that I like, which is geeky stuff. Just talking about all the news and stuff that's happening with it, which sometimes nothing. Kind of like today. Sometimes that happens. Tomorrow we might have literally nothing. Today we have a few stuff, but it's mostly in the comic book sphere of things. Albeit not in actual comic books, but more in the movies and stuff. So it's pretty much gonna be all that. There's nothing anime, no video game stuff. There's nothing interesting in that. So we'll just, but there is a big one. So first, before we get into those, we have two smaller ones, and one is for the Captain Marvel movie. That of course, oh man, I forget right now. I'm forgetting who, but Captain Marvel's cast, Oscar winner. I can't remember her name right now, but yeah, let's just go. I don't think I've seen her in any movies, but anyway, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the director. Most people probably won't even care about most directors. They probably don't even know any directors. But if you're a bit more of a film enthusiast, I would say that even if I don't watch a ton of films, I know about a ton of films, and it's the same in anime. That even if I haven't watched an anime, or I mean comic book movies and stuff, I've probably read a good amount of comics. But even with the comics, some characters like I don't know, like Luke Cage, like I know Luke Cage as a character, but I don't think I've ever read a comic about him or even maybe with him. I think I probably have read one with him, but not like the Luke Cage comic. So anyway, that doesn't mean that you can like know it. Like I know movies, so and I know some directors kind of, but these are people that I don't really know. But anyway, so they've got some directors for the movie for Captain Marvel, which is coming out in 2018, if I remember correctly. They moved up the release dates and stuff, and the big story that I did put some effort into getting the details for, and I wanna be getting all the details right and stuff. But for the other ones, I was just like, yeah, we're just gonna talk about it for a second. We're talking about it for a bit too long, so let's get right to it. So it's pretty much is that they're only looking for female directors for the movie, which on one hand is good, but on the other hand, maybe it isn't good, and that's because, I mean, hey, even if I know movies and I know some more directors than most people, who are like, who's Scorsese, who's that guy? Yeah, I don't know. They just don't know anybody. Like some people, like maybe you've watched Adventures, you're like, okay, I know who Joss Whedon is, okay, but they're just like, I don't care, and that's fine. But the thing is that even without knowing that, I'm pretty sure that most, if not all, the superhero movies that have come before have not been directed by a female director. Also, there's not a lot of female directors. Um, at least as far as I know, maybe there's a ton. At least in the like the Hollywood scene of movies. And so I think that it's both good that they're trying to get some, but it seems a bit weird when, like, for the Wonder Woman movie, it's a female superhero. They got a female director. This is pretty much the same thing. So it seems a bit weird that I know that they want a female director so they can help it to be more work towards a female audience and to be cool like that and be different and unique in that way. But since they don't have any other female directors directing any of their other movies, it just seems like they're just doing it because of that, which they kind of are. So it's a thing where it's going to be good. You probably not going to even really notice or know. Like I don't believe I know any of the people who are. We don't know who's going to direct it. We just know that everybody up for it was female. So that's one of the stories. It's it's one of these things where it's tough. It's tough. Because Marvel, especially in the comics, really, really wants to diversify their comics and make them just the best comics so everybody will feel great reading them. But in my opinion, most of the time, Marvel Comics, for me, has made a lot of bad decisions, and 50% or more have usually been directly been a part with that, with certain things such as like you know, but we're going to talk about in another video. Anyway, so let's move on. But yeah, just yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm taking way too much time. I need to go way faster. Okay. So we'll get better as we go along. So the next one is that the Flash movie that is coming out, not the TV show, but the Flash movie that's coming out with Ezra Miller as the Flash. It's coming out not next year again, but in 2018. There is now a rumor from Heroic Hollywood, if I remember correctly. And I'm not sure how reputable they are, so this is just totally a rumor. But the rumored villains for the movie, not just a villain, but the villains for the Flash movie, are supposedly a group of the Rogues, which is basically like a group of people that fight the Flash, and they're all supervillains, and they're all known and have fought the Flash probably by themselves, but they're more well known as the Rogues themselves altogether. So you've got Captain Cold and Heatwave and Mirror Master and Captain Boomerang, and there may be a few others and stuff. Usually you've got those people, so they've got those, and they're rumored to be the villains for that. So I would certainly I would like that. Of course, they could do Reverse Flash, or they could do Gorilla Grodd, or one of the other villains. But the Rogues would certainly be interesting because you could have, of course, multiple villains, because it's a group. And I don't really remember a movie, like there was some movies where it's like it's two people teaming up, but it's never been like five people against the main hero, if I remember correctly. Again, maybe not. So that could be interesting, but again, it's just a rumor, so I think they would be good if it did turn out that way, but we just don't know at this point. So our main story is with something very interesting, and it was linked to the show Legion that is going to be about a mutant in the X-Men universe. And the big thing about it was that there was a lot of connections being made by fans from Legion, connecting it to the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So stuff like Avengers and Civil War, those movies and stuff. That the show would be a part of that, and therefore the mutants and X-Men characters might be somehow connected with the MCU, which a lot of people want. They want it to be all connected because, of course, Marvel in a financial time where they were might have gone bankrupt. Who knows? They sold off a bunch of their rights to different people, and then when they wanted to start making movies, they only had certain things. They didn't have like their big ones at that time, which were Spider-Man and the X-Men. So now they've got Spider-Man back. So people thought, well, why not get X-Men back too? You can get X-Men back, and then you have everybody pretty much. So the whole thing was that it's with Fox, and it seems like they don't really have a great relationship. There's been a lot of stuff that doesn't seem like they'd ever want to connect things. But then we saw this, and everybody was like, well, maybe so. So now it's come out that indeed it is not, and it's not necessarily surprising since the thing, it was like the series was, or one of the characters was in a group of characters that were in the MCU on some website or something, and some other stuff that people had said, but it didn't directly confirm that it was a part of it. It just kind of seemed like it. And another main thing was that it was said to be kind of its own thing, its own separate thing. So that would mean that even if some mutants and stuff were connected with the MCU, they wouldn't mean that like the movies were connected. So maybe they could do it like that. So people thought that, but indeed it's not. They're not connected, and so that's a very interesting thing, and it means that we're probably going to have to wait longer, if not at all. But I think it's probably just going to be longer. I think they'll do something at some point, most likely, but it's probably not going to be for a while with how this has gone. And that is pretty much that. There have been no talks. Nobody's talked about it. Nobody's really thinking about it. Maybe they're thinking about it, but they haven't tried to do anything yet, it seems like. And so here is basically the story, and this is at the Edinburgh Television Festival. Bryan Singer, who is the director of many of the X-Men films, and is kind of one of the main people in charge of the X-Men universe, confirmed that Legion was indeed in the Fox X-Men universe. So he did confirm that in there, and here's his quote, and he says, Legion is part of the X-Men universe, but when you watch it, you wouldn't have to label it. It could exist entirely on its own. So pretty much what he's saying is that while it is a part of their universe, it's not a part of the MCU. It's part of the Fox universe because it's mutants in the show, even though the characters are not like Wolverine or Storm or Nightcrawler or Deadpool. It's still in that universe, but it's just more in a way where you're not going to know at all. Like in the Netflix series for Marvel, even though they're not really connected, they have little things in them, at least I've heard, that show that they are connected, like posters or newspapers or something showing like, oh, the invasion in New York or something like that. It showed that they're kind of connected, but this, it might not have any of that stuff, and you just kind of have to guess along that it's connected, maybe. So it works on itself. So you don't need to watch any of those movies if you haven't seen them. You can just watch Legion and enjoy it as a show. But if you thought or were hoping that it would be in that, then too bad. So yeah, it's too bad for all of us that wanted the X-Men to be a part of Infinity War. They're probably not going to be. Fantastic Four, probably not going to be. I think that all that stuff's been in development for a while, so if they've said nothing about it now, it's not going to happen. So that's too bad. But I mean, there's still later, and it's good to get it cleared up because a lot of fans were kind of saying it like, I really think that it's happening this time, even if it's just this one show. Well, it's not, so have to keep hoping. So that will end it for today, and this could have gone a lot better. It could have gone a lot better. I mean, it could have gone worse, but this is pretty long, and I am not necessarily one to like posting really long videos. I would have liked this to be pretty short, but of course this is the first time that I'm trying to do this, and so I usually rant a lot more than I probably should on some of these, so they could be really long, they could not be. It depends on, what what I have to say about stuff. So I'll probably get better and better and better as we go along, and also how I'm going to do it probably is like next Wednesday I'll try to post something slightly different, and that way I can take the news from Wednesday, everything that happened on Wednesday, and put it on Thursday. That way I can take all the stuff that happened in that day and then put up a video like in more in the middle of the day, or where, at least for me, kind of. That way it will be more scheduled and stuff, so I'll know what stuff, because I was a bit confused on what I should do today, because I had some stuff that I could put in, but that was older, from maybe not even maybe last week or something, that I could talk about it, but it would be old news, whereas this stuff is from today. So this is really the newest news, so I'm not, of course there's going to be stuff that I'm going to change. My opinions might even change. But yeah, I mean, pretty much this is how it's going to be. I hope that it will be more streamlined, and yeah, I guess, of course, I'm stalling for time now since I like to end it at. I mean, even though I didn't do it last time, I was getting a bit, excited. So bye bye. See you next time. Bye again.